We have been speaking about dreams and altered states of consciousness, the brain and the nervous system, and God, and how all these relate in the Bible. "Hear my word," said the Lord. "If there is a prophet among you, I, Yahweh, make myself known to him in a vision. I speak with him in a dream," says Numbers chapter 12, verse 6. But to Moses, unique among the prophets of Israel, God speaks mouth to mouth, clearly, and not in dark speech. If dreams belong to dark speech, that means they require interpretation. And the God of Israel is the interpreter of dreams. And sometimes the God of Israel grants this gift to special persons, such as Joseph in Genesis or Daniel in the book of Daniel. Prophets and dreamers in the Bible are usually paired. Samuel the prophet laments when he senses that God has ceased communicating with him, either by prophets or by dreams. Does this mean that prophets were figures in the Bible who were adept at altered states of consciousness experiences? God is understandably disturbed when prophets claim to have received communication in dreams, but God has not so communicated. Jeremiah chapter 23, verses 16 to 32. On the other hand, God uses signs and wonders in apparent confirmation of a dream to test the people's loyalty. Hence, determining whether or not a person had a dream or was lying about it, and then to decide on the interpretation of the dream, while being a common occurrence in ancient Israel, was nevertheless one fraught with the risk of making a terrible mistake, one that could dishonor the God of Israel. Deuteronomy chapter 13, verses 1 to 5. "Every word that I command you, you shall be careful to observe, neither adding to it nor subtracting from it. If there arises in your midst a prophet or a dreamer who promises you a sign or wonder, saying, 'Let us go after other gods, whom you have not known, and let us serve them,' and the sign or wonder foretold to you comes to pass, do not listen to the words of that prophet or that dreamer." Notice how prophet and dreamer go together. That tells you how prophets receive the word. For Yahweh your God is testing you to know whether you really are attached to Yahweh your God with all your heart and soul. Yahweh your God shall you follow, and him shall you fear. His commandments shall you observe, and to his voice shall you listen. Him you shall serve, and to him you shall hold fast. In comparison to the Old Testament, the New Testament reports far fewer dreams. Scholars sometimes distinguish between dreams and visions, but anthropologists caution that one should not press the distinction, because actually both dreams and visions overlap, and both belong to the category of altered states of consciousness experiences. An example of this overlap is the description in the document called Matthew of the Transfiguration as a vision, which could also be called a waking dream. Jesus, John, James, and Peter all have an altered state of consciousness experience, a waking dream, a vision, in which something from God is communicated to them, namely the identity of Jesus and his vocation. In the Gospel according to Matthew, Joseph, the father of Jesus, and the Magi receive instructions for conduct in a dream, and Pontius Pilate's wife has an ominous dream involving Jesus. Matthew chapter 1, verse 19 to 21. Joseph, her husband, since he was a righteous man, yet unwilling to expose her to shame, decided to divorce her leniently. Such was his intention when, look, the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream and said, "Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to take Mary your wife into your home. For it is through a Holy Spirit, a good wind, a good breath, that this child has been conceived in her. She will bear a son, and you are to name him Jesus, because he will save his people from their sins." Look, that's Joseph receiving information and direction via an altered state of consciousness experience. Matthew chapter 2, verse 13. When they had departed, look, the angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream and said, "Rise, take the child and his mother, Flee to Egypt and stay there until I tell you. Herod is going to search for the child to destroy him. Matthew chapter 2, verse 12. And having been warned in a dream not to return to Herod, the Magi, who definitely were not only 3 people, departed for their country by another way. Look at all this information and direction coming via altered states of consciousness. Matthew chapter 27, verse 19. While Pontius Pilate was still seated on the bench, his wife sent him a message. Have nothing to do with that righteous man. I suffered much in a dream today because of him. It seems that we are hardwired by God for experiencing God in over 35 different states of consciousness, including dreams, those dreams while asleep, and those dreams that are waking dreams, visions.